make sure you subscribe, click that little bell icon to be notified of upcoming videos, support us on Patreon, like us on Facebook and Instagram at Model Railroad Techniques. Please have a look at my new website, www.modelrailroadtechniques.com. How do guys, and welcome back. This is Darren from MRT. In this episode number 2, we're going to be looking at the windows and the doors and painting them up. Start adding some weathering to this lovely little building. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is painting up these windows. Now, I've seen various videos whilst researching how to make these kits. Some people leave them on the sprue as it is there, or some people take it off. So what I'm going to do on this occasion, I'm going to take them off. Now, I've got a neat little tool from Micromart there. I'll put a link below. So it's basically like a pair of tweezers that have got a blade on the end of it. So there's a bit of a close-up of the sprue cutters that I was talking about. Now, you see the little blue banding around my finger there. So that's just a piece of painter's tape that's sticky side out. So when I start painting, what I do, I actually stick the window seal onto that part of my finger. And then I just do the first coat and paint it through that way. Okay, so it's just a matter of sticking on your finger there, getting the paint and paint it up. Now that paint there is like a dark green by Vallejo. I use sort of a bit of a thicker brush, and it's just a matter of methodically going around and painting the windowsill. So I'm not going to teach you how to suck eggs there. However, I did omit to mention that those windows all had a light dusting of a grey under primer from a rattle can or spray can. So here's the finished product with the windows that have been finished up there. Now I've started adding a bit of a black weathering powder to that. So that's a Vallejo black weathering powder. So the next step, I look at using a brand new X-Acto blade number 11 to just clean up around the window receptacles there. It's either that or you can use a flat file also. On these particular kits that I've found, there's not a lot of work required to do this. At this point, I'm just adding all the windows. So what I've actually done, to fit the windows, just a dollop of glue in each corner and then just fit the window accordingly. So this next bit, I'm going to start adding a little bit of more weathering. So I'm just going to try this Vallejo Pigments, which is like a really smoky black colour. So the brush that I use is a real cut down old paintbrush. So I'm sort of finding, as I'm sort of experimenting with my weathering, it's best to have quite a stiff bristle brush, so then you can sort of direct the pigment or the weathering chalks or whatever you're using a little bit better. So it's just a matter of what I'm going to do. I'm just going to run sort of underneath sort of there, because I sort of believe that's where a whole lot of crud will build up. Then from there, I'm sort of just gonna run some pigment down. You can obviously sort of experiment with sort of other. So that's probably a little bit dark, but it's just a matter of you can sort of really sort of get up underneath there. So yeah, probably a little bit dark up the top there, but this one's a little more subtle, so it's just a matter of sort of representing, you know, water staining and the like that's coming around sort of that general vicinity. So from there, I'm going to obviously just, you know, work my way through, do the next one, really sort of get up and under there. You could either use brown, possibly try sort of a white chalk as well, or sort of a grey colour to sort of represent a little bit more of a water scale or something similar. So yeah, it's just a matter of working your way and sort of looking at photos. I know my journey, definitely since I've started looking at building this type of stuff, and I'm no means any expert here, but you start looking at your world in a different way. What I mean by that, you start looking at rusty old sheds and the colourings and the various other colours that are in our world, and how rust forms, and how, you know, just wear and tear on buildings you might look at to really enhance your models. It's quite interesting. So what I'm sort of doing now is just adding a little bit of sort of weathering along the bottom of the clapboard here. So what I've used for that is sort of a light slate type grey, just with the same brush. Now, try not to go sort of too overboard with it, but just sort of come up with maybe the first half a dozen clapboards, I reckon, to start, and then just see how that sort of goes. That's obviously a bit thick, but and really sort of get it in under the sort of underneath the board, and sort of tone it down a little bit. So it just adds a little bit of gradation to the colouring. So it's just obviously just there to build up the colours the best you can. So I will just methodically go through all of these to sort of get that colour, and I will use other colours, and I'll show you the other colours I use in a sec. Depending on the colourings you're using, I'm sort of finding is I did consider using sort of a whitish colour for this type of thing, or you could, but I just thought there was a little bit too stark a contrast, so I ended up going sort of this slate grey type colour. You probably could use a little bit of brown in there as well, and I'll do that as well along here, and just building up colours. It's actually a little bit of fun putting it in there. So obviously I've pulled some of the clapboards out. With that, I'm a little bit not quite so happy with this side of things. So not all is lost. So I'm using like a dirt brown. And this is Micro Mart's weathering powders. So I'm just gonna maybe tone that down a little bit. It's probably not quite the right colour, but just sort of tones it down a little bit, and I'll put a little bit of that, you know, on these little skips as well, along the bottom. I think it's just a matter of building up the colours and sort of working your way through. This colour, this gradation, you have to be a little bit careful, because it is now looking at it's a little bit overpowering. What I've also seen is with buildings like this, obviously they get a little bit of mildew and mould and sort of moss growing on them. So I've got this mildew type green. Now this is obviously a very overpowering colour, so it's just a matter of, I think, just splodging on a few different places. You could probably, it's up to you how high you want to go up, but obviously closer to the ground where the moisture is a little bit more prevalent. So the next colour I'm going to experiment with is this Vallejo Pigments, this is a burnt umber. I'm just going to, as I said, I'm still not 100% happy with this sort of area around here. I would like to sort of tone it down a little bit. So it's just a matter of, I think I need to work the grime, and you know, this is probably an area that would face the weather a little bit more. I think that's, keep working through with this one, because this is a pigment that's out of the Vallejo's Dirt and Dust series. So I think it's just a matter of really working. Probably this would be a good one to put on the seals there, because this is obviously wouldn't get a lot of care and attention out there after many years in the weather, I wouldn't think. So I'm going to try to gunge it up the best I can. So what I'm going to try now is a little bit of a thinner brush, sorry, a bit finer bristle brush, and just same sort of thing. I just, you know, run those powders just to really start gunging it up. It's actually quite a nice colour, this. If you go upwards, you know, you'll find that it gets there underneath the, right under the clapboard, and sort of holds the colour a little bit better, because it sort of sinks in all the crevices there. So where you've put lifted your clapboard, you know, really work some colour in there, because obviously there's going to be a whole lot of gunk and rubbish that will get caught up in there. So I'm really gonna, yeah, you sort of can put it on. What I'm finding, you sort of put it on, if you sort of feel that you've sort of overworked it or put too much colour on, like I have there, you sort of just, you can run your finger over it and you can sort of tone it right down. So that's coming along okay, I think. I'm sort of flying by the seat of my pants here a little bit, but I'm sort of having some fun sort of learning about these pigments and sort of how they work and how they interact with the colours that I've got. So you probably find towards the top where any roofing is, there would be there'd probably be a line right on the top, but sort of underneath that it gets a little bit protected from the weather. So that's probably one place you sort of need to sort of keep away from a little bit. Now I think that's probably all I'm going to use of that colour, because I think if you sort of go too far with it, you'll end up overcooking it, so to speak, and putting too much on. So that's the end of this video at this point in time. So in the next video, episode number 3, I will take you through how I do the signs and further weathering on these walls. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Make sure you subscribe, click that little bell icon to be notified of upcoming videos. Support us on Patreon, like us on Facebook and Instagram at Model Railroad Technique.